Hey, good morning, everybody, and this is Harold with WorldTVOnDemand.com coming to you again. So, let me see what we got going on here. I gotta check this out. Okay. So, it's Monday. Thank you for watching. This is Harold Jackson. And we're gonna be talking about some news and stock and all that stuff. And before the stock market opens, it's 8:40. It's gonna be like a rocket going up, I think. But anyway, let's go check some stuff out. Let me get out of here. We're gonna go down here. Let me see if it worked the way I thought it would. And let me just see here. Stay with me now. It'll be okay. PBS News Hour. That's the one I want. Let's see if I can find the video that I was looking for. I thought I saved it, and I did not. So this was just the other day. I'm looking. You can look with me here. And while I'm looking, let's see, I was going to do this. Let's see. See how this works. When you don't have anybody to run your studio for you, you got to kind of go with the flow, you know. So let me see. What was that story that I was looking for? I thought for sure I clicked on it for my favorites. I hope y'all had a nice weekend. It was kind of okay here, doing a little relaxing, a little R&R. There's just a lot of stories here. That was a week ago. I mean, you can go check them out. That's their address right there. I'll just copy, and let's go to, let's see, I'm going to just type it in here for you. Yeah, if you want to go check out that page, you can go there and check it out. A lot of stuff going on over at PBS, but I really wanted to share that one story with you. I really did. My music's done quit on me. Let's do this one. I'm being a little lazy here. I was not prepared, but we're going to get on with it here in a minute. Let's see. I thought for sure it would be in my played list because I thought I saved it. Let me see. But I did not. Let's go right here. Let's go right here for a second. Check this out.
Stock market got you spooked? Afraid of a Wall Street?
Okay, this is the one I was looking for. So let's shut this off for a minute.
Armageddon? Well, putting today's market in historical perspective isn't exactly reassuring. But how about the explanation that stock prices were and still are historically out of whack? Stock prices of U.S. companies have recently reached their second highest level since 1888, according to Nobel laureate Robert Shiller's CAPE, or CAPE, an acronym for Cyclically Adjusted Price Earnings Ratio. Since a share of stock is, in theory, a share of a company's profits, a high PE, or price earnings ratio, means a high stock price relative to profits. Using the S&P 500 index, an average of 500 major companies, Shiller's CAPE has had three dramatic peaks: the Roaring '20s, the dot-com boom, and last week. And though the index has dropped by about 10%, it's still above the ratio in October of 1929. So on a day like today, you may be wondering, how low could the market go? Well, the first peak on Shiller's chart came in 1929, promptly followed by the crash of '29. And the S&P index bottomed out in March of 1933, having dropped by more than 80%. A similar drop from last week's peak of 2867 would drive the S&P below 600, the Dow below 5,000. And what's been the average price earnings ratio over the entire 129 years? Somewhere around half of what the market closed at today. But before you panic, the highest Shiller peak ever was about 40% above the current ratio. That was during the first internet boom, which lasted quite a while. So exuberance, whether irrational or not, could still have quite a ways to go. A repeat performance of the dot-com boom would imply an S&P index approaching 4,000, a Dow nearing 35,000. Now, a warning about predictions. As I once heard the famous economics professor John Kenneth Galbraith say, there are two kinds of economists: those who don't know the future and those who don't know they don't know. And as another famous economist, Paul Samuelson, once said, the stock market has correctly forecast 9 of the last 5 recessions. Look, optimists have a seemingly strong case, with data to back them up. The U.S. and global economies appear to be doing just fine, with a U.S. unemployment rate of barely 4%, wages finally rising, business so good that companies may be borrowing to invest again at last. And the S&P, even after this week's cascade, is still up more than 12% over the past 12 months. The Dow still up about 19%. But the pessimists point out that people were just as upbeat in 1929, when unemployment was, as best we can tell, below 3%. And the 1920s were still roaring. And then look what happened. You find this kind of unsatisfying? Like President Harry Truman's famous lament that all my economists say on one hand, then but on the other? Well, what else is there but Truman's answer? Give me a one-armed economist. For the PBS News Hour, this is economics correspondent Paul Solomon. Stock market.
So, how you like those apples? The Dow Jones could go up to 35,000. Well, but I think there's going to be some ups and downs before that happens. And so let's check out Fox News here and see what they had going on over the weekend. And still talking Russia probe, Russia probe, Russia probe. I just don't know, man. It's just, is that all they're going to talk about? Well, let's just see what they have to say here about Joe Biden. You know, he's, the Democratic Party, they want the young kids coming up to take over the party and everything. And You know, you got 20 something people running for president in the Democratic Party. And who's leading the pack? The two oldest white gray haired guys, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. So if they want something new and a change and everything, why are they going back? These guys been in politics for 50 years, and they oh my gosh, and they're the leaders. Let's just listen to this for a second.
This week, thousands around the world observed the 30th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, holding demonstrations calling for public apologies and reforms. In response, Chinese Defense Minister Wei Fenghe said crushing the protests had been the correct policy. Joe Biden put out a lofty tweet condemning China's latest oppression, the targeting and surveilling of religious minorities. I responded with a tweet of my own, and if you've been watching our Joe China series, you'll immediately know why. The Chinese government has recently developed a phone application designed to surveil ethnic minority Muslims. The technology relies on facial recognition software created by a Chinese company called Face++, which is a division of a major startup called Megvii. And one of Megvii's most prominent investors is none other than Hunter Biden. Here was my tweet to Joe Biden. Your own son is an investor in the Chinese facial recognition app the Beijing regime is using to oppress the Uyghurs. You call it a human rights crisis while your family profits from it. Joe China, you are a corrupt hypocrite. Just wait till Sunday night on the next revolution. Well, here we are. And let me elaborate. Human Rights Watch, who originally published the report linking Face++ and Megvii with the app used to surveil religious minorities, this week said that after publishing their report, Megvii contacted them to say that their software had never been used for this surveillance. Human Rights Watch investigated further and confirmed that Megvii's code was in the surveillance app, but that it was inoperable. How did it end up there in the first place? With the help of Peter Schweitzer and the Government Accountability Institute, we dug a little deeper, and you won't believe what we found. There is substantial evidence of Megvii's technology being used in China's surveillance state. A Washington Post investigation interviewed a marketing manager there who bragged that their facial recognition tech helped police arrest 4,000 people since 2016. Megvii's co-founder has said that they count on the government for 40% of their business. They even presented their tech at the Xinjiang Security Conference. That's the province where many of the oppressed Uyghur Muslims live. So, the Biden family is making money off China's surveillance state, and Joe Biden has the gall to tweet about China's human rights abuses. We already told you about the billions of dollars in bribes he took from the Chinese government in the form of payments to his family businesses. We've seen how these bribes turned into Biden policy that favors China. Now we know he's a massive hypocrite too. Help us spread the word. Hashtag Joe China. All right, let's see what we think of that. Jason, I mean, this Joe China, just a gift that keeps on giving.
No, he really does. I think, first of all, Peter Schweitzer has done a remarkable job laying the foundation in drawing out a lot of that. But you have probably drawn as much attention to this as anybody. And we do. For those of us that love oversight, I love that you keep doing this. I don't think it's a mistake that really days into announcing he's going to run for president, Joe Biden is up there on stage and you see all the video of him talking about, what, China? What, well, you really think they're a problem? I mean, he was trying to dismiss it. Are you kidding me? Joe Biden, who was first elected in 1972, hasn't figured out that China is an existential threat to the United States of America and everything that they're doing? Yeah. Come on, that was a joke.
I mean, this issue, I think, is, I mean, we're going to keep on it. And I think if he's the nominee, obviously there's a long way to go before that happens, I think this is going to dominate the election because it's the biggest issue, how we, strategically for the country, how we deal with China's rise. President Trump has done the biggest turnaround on China policy we've seen in 50 years. Joe Biden's on totally the wrong side of that.
Well, he's definitely on the wrong side of it, and it wouldn't surprise me if Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders aren't watching your show just for the Biden watch. These are all talking points that they're going to use against him throughout this primary because they know he's on the wrong side of this. Obviously, Joe Biden is out for one person, and that is Joe Biden. When you have 40 years being in government and you have zero legislative accomplishments for the American people, he's not running on his policies, his programs, the things that he championed, he's running on some strange narrative that most people can't figure out, saying, like, to Jason's point, China is not a threat. That's insane. They're the greatest threat economically to this country.
That's it. And by the way, that point you just made about he's not running on what he thinks, that is highly relevant to a conversation we're going to have later on in the show about his flip-flop this week on abortion. Another example of that. But Tommy, I mean, this China issue is just actually, although it's huge, it was one.
So I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what that's all about. Well, it seems that my internet service is going up and down. Go see your mama, buddy. Kid duty. Okay, well, I'm back. I'm back. I had kid duty there for a second. But that's life in the Jackson house. So, let's go. While I'm looking for my next little tidbit of information here, but I did want to share a couple of things with you. Let's see. Let's see what this old Outboard is up to. He sent us a new video. So we're going to click on that. He's got a little advertisement.
Red Rock Deli potato chips.
Oh yeah, baby, it's time once again for another episode of This Old Outboard.
This old Outboard.
Oh yeah, baby, here come the parts. They just rolling in. Hee hee hee. Gonna get that carburetor soaking, cleaned up today, and still got one or two more parts coming in for it. And today's the day. Clean her up, soak, bang, bang, boom. All right, baby. You can see over here I've got a lineup of fuel system cleaner, carb choke cleaner, brake parts cleaner, and I'm even going to spray a little PB blaster on this puppy. Just want to get me a combination of chemicals in here and let her soak down, clean it up, and it should be pretty good to go. So anyway, come on, PB, get out there. Shoot a little in here, and that's the end of that can. Anyway, I like to use injection cleaner. Let it soak a little bit, and that works pretty good. Get some of the cheap stuff at Walmart or your dollar store. I'll be screwing around with this throughout the day. Let it soak down. Spray some car cleaner in there. Just get a mixture of everything, you know, because there's really, one of these days somebody's going to invent something that's just going to clean these things like a whistle with one shot. I haven't found it yet. This puppy soaking deep. You can see in there I shot a bunch of carb cleaner in there too. Want to get down in there through the where the slow speed needle goes in. Part of that damn cork float stuck in there. Anyway, let's get this all back to soaking here. All right, baby, today's the day. It's Saturday, overcast, raining, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not going to get rough and run me out of here. Today's the day. Got the carb. Parts are, I believe everything is in. I'm going to get this baby put back together, finish cleaning it up, get it back on the 40. It's been soaking almost a week, and I put some 2-stroke oil on top of my mix to keep the mix from evaporating. So the oil kept it from evaporating, and we blow it all out, rinse it all out, a little brake cleaner, a little carb cleaner, and bing bang boom. So I just took everything out of the mix that I had, and I'm shocked, man. Look at that. Damn. And the needle, look how clean that needle came out. I haven't even sprayed it down yet. That turned out to be a pretty good mix. Maybe it was the PB blaster I threw in there. I don't know. But it did a great job. That's it, I haven't even sprayed it down yet. So, wow, yeah. Remember that formula. Little PB blaster I sprayed in there. Brake cleaner I sprayed in there. Carb cleaner I sprayed in there. STP fuel injection, fuel system cleaner.
Yeah, I think that's what did it. I think it was the fuel
that's
injector
the cleanest
cleaner.
I've ever seen anything come out.
Yeah.
And then I let that soak for a day or so. Then I pour a little bit of oil in it, 2-stroke, to keep it, which was actually this Chem jet ski high performance oil. Pour a little bit of that in there. That was given to me. And to keep everything from, you know, because it'll just disintegrate, disappear in this heat we've been having. Luckily, we're back on track with rain again. Anyway, these parts look great, man. I'm shocked. All right.
Tell me how you really feel.
So, I'm still in awe at this. So, first thing I'm going to slap in there my new needle.
Yeah.
And seat. Line up my pin.
Look at that.
It goes this way. Nope, goes the other way, I think. Huh.
It's kind of
It's
tight.
snug on both ends.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit swollen up from being in that damn mix. One side's a little bit bigger, but it is a little swollen up. It's one thing about the plastic parts.
Oh, I didn't know
Got
that
to
was
be
plastic.
careful soaking them. Yeah, I'm not going to touch it for a while. Let it try to dry out and shrink back down. All right, so next. Well, next would be my gasket and the bowl. So I almost have to touch it, but let's go move it forward to here and get this puppy back in on the bowl. The 2 plastic washers.
Oh, slow speed needle
first
packing.
one goes in. It's in there. This is what they sent me, the packing washers in this envelope. They seem to be a little thinner than I remember the last time. Then 2 of those puppies go in. Straighten this one out. And the other plastic. Now you don't want to tighten this down till you get your needle set.
Oh, see, I didn't know
So
that.
put the needle all the way in, back it out 1.5, and just get it a little bit snug. Alright, so she's in there, seated gently. Don't really have to worry about that needle too much. Alright, so there's 1.5.
That's 1.5. Now,
snug this down a little bit so it keeps this fairly tight. And we're good. Alright, so let's come back, because it's ready to go on, other than the gasket. And I bought 2 of these. It's just the nozzle gasket goes on top here.
Hey, that pin for that float, all the ones I did, that pin was steel. I didn't know they even made a plastic pin to hold that float and the float needle valve in.
It's snug. This hinge pin, let's see if it'll slide on in now. It's moving, but boy, I bent it up here at the top. Looks like I might even broke it.
Oh no, I thought I heard something pop.
No, I don't think it's broke. By golly, I do. But is it the right size? Yeah, I think they're all the same.
Yeah.
Came out pretty easy. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there.
Yeah.
I think it should be. Or not the bottom of the bowl, I mean the top of the bowl. See how it's hanging too far down? Needs to be level, right with the lip of the top of the bowl carb, bottom carb here.
So how do you adjust that?
Looks good.
Oh, you got it adjusted, but you didn't
level
show me how to adjust it.
Boom.
I guess you stuck a little screwdriver in there.
Gasket. Get rid of all these crap over here.
Yep.
And gasket. One thing I did forget, which I think I'll be good on, is the gasket, carb gasket to intake. I think it looks pretty good. It should be alright. Ooh, that looks so pretty. Alright. Alright, so that about does it on the carburetor. I mean, that's a rebuild
Cool, man.
on a freaking carburetor.
I'm going to give you a thumbs up on that.
Pretty easy stuff, right?
That was pretty good.
This is, you know, I don't even know why they call
So
it
now
rebuilds.
I'm going to pause this, and if you don't watch this old outboard, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to go here to the comments, and I'm going to give you the address. And there's the address if you want to go check out this old outboard and check out that video. That would be fantastic. And let's see, what time is it? It's 9 minutes after 9. So we still got about 20 minutes for the market to open, and we'll go see what that's doing. But I got one more video here around the house with Kay and Tom. I don't know what he's doing here. Let's see, what is he doing? Ninja Foodie cheese quesadilla. Cheese quesadilla. Let's go check that out.
Doing it right means using a synthetic brush with...
Well, get out of there.
Hello, welcome to Around the House with Kay and Tom, and we're both in here working on this quesadillas. So we're going to attempt to make some chicken quesadillas in the springform pan. And so we got about a cup of shredded chicken here. We got these soft flour tortillas. We'll be using 4 of those. We'll be using some Rotel tomatoes, some black beans, some whole kernel corn, and paste restaurant style salsa. And we're going to be using some cheese, of course. And so let me get busy and get started doing this. So we'll be back in a second when we get everything in the bowl, or start to put it in the bowl. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do, I got a little bit over a cup, almost a cup and a half of shredded chicken here. We'll put in this bowl.
Nice.
About a medium-sized mixing bowl.
Cool.
Now we've got a can of this corn here. This is a 15 and a quarter ounce.
Oh, you drain the water off
corn there,
and you drain the water off of it.
And now I've got this, same size, 15 and a half ounce can of these black beans. They go in it.
Yeah, and you drain the water off of those too, didn't you?
Get on out our beans.
Yeah.
There you go. And now,
there you go.
I'm taking dump this paste restaurant style salsa
The
mixed
whole
down
thing?
in it.
You gonna put the whole thing in there? No, you ain't gonna put the whole thing in there, are you?
Just like that.
Oh my God, look at that. That looks
pretty good right there, don't it? We'll just
That's
eat
gonna
that.
be delicious.
Good.
My goodness. That's a looking good, man.
Yeah, before I go any further, I'm going to put a little bit of salt, not much, because that canned stuff's got a lot of salt in it to start with.
That's what they use for a preservative. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do a little pepper. Okay, and of course you do this to your own taste, you know, or how you think you'd like it for yourself. Well, everybody likes it different. Now we'll stir it up some more. Make sure it's all mixed good. Now, there, folks, that looks pretty good. Like that.
What are you gonna do with that? I'm just wondering what you gonna do with that.
Now, next thing we're going to do is to put a piece of parsley.
I might have to disappear time to time to go take care of the kids, because as you know, school's out and I have my kid duty today.
Paper on the bottom of this springform pan. Now I don't know if it's necessary or not. It probably isn't, but you know, I've got it, so I put it on there, and like I showed you before, just put it down on there and make sure the bottom is turned up the way it's supposed to be, and sort of hold down on it and push it push your latch here at the same time until it locks into place like that. And there you go, it's locked into place. And that really should help too if you got any leakage coming out around the sides and stuff, in order to really stop it from
You enjoy this video, and I'll be right back.
coming out. So now the next thing we're going to do is take one of those flour tortillas here and put down in the bottom of your springform pan. Try to center it up best you can. And it's not a big deal, but just, you know, get it pretty good. And then you bring your mixture over here to it. And put some of your mix down in here. Now I can get carried away with doing stuff like this, and I spread out too much to where it's, I put too much on, that's what I do, and I sort of tend to make a mess if I'm not careful. But anyhow, do it like this. Get it spread on there pretty good like this, sort of try to even it out. And then I'm going to put some cheese on it. Now if I had to tell you the truth, if I'd thought about it, I'd got it, I would have put that 4-blend Mexican style cheese on here. But being as I forgot to get it and I don't have it, I'm just using what I got here. It's cheddar jack. Yeah, that's good anyway. And so now after you do that, you put another tortilla right on top. Alright, and then you start putting your mixture in there again. Just like this. It smells good already. I ain't even started cooking yet. Put some more cheese on top. Not too thick because I got 2 more layers to go here. Okay, and now, like I said, with 2 more layers, I got this. I go do it 2 more times before we start cooking it. Now this is the 4th and final tortilla we put on it. It goes right on top like that. And then spread your little cheese around on it just like this. Now tell me that's not going to be good, folks. So now the next thing we're going to do, is take this little, some people call it trivet, some people call it a rack, I call it a little wire thing that comes with the Ninja Foodie. So I'm going to take it over here and I'm going to set, I know you can't see me right now. See if I can widen it out just a little bit more, yep. And so, if you notice, this little springform pan fits right down in it perfectly like this. And so when you do that, you put it right down into the Ninja Foodie like this. Center it up a little bit, the best you can. Alright, and then I'm going to shut the lid. Now the recipe, as I saw, said cook it for bake it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. Well, I'm going to hit the bake button. Hit it again. Alright, so it's 375. So I'm going to drop it back to 350. Quit hitting the wrong button. And now the time I'm going to put, the time it said 30 minutes. So I'm going to put 20 on it. And see what happens, but I'll be looking, of course, back and forth along the way, and we'll see what it looks like. It's okay. So now we'll hit the start button. Let's go start baking here. And so, like I said, I'm going to be looking back in a few minutes, but every time I open the lid, I'm going to try to have the camera ready so you can see down in there at the same time. So we'll check back in a few minutes. For 10 minutes. Let's raise the lid and take a look at it. Oh, that looks pretty nice already, don't it? Yep, it sure does. But as usual, I got the stuff all the way out to the edge on everything, so it's a cooking good. So let's get it started back. Okay, we got another 10 minutes to go, and then we'll take a closer look at it. While I'm at it, if y'all get a chance, join my channel and give me a thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. And if you look down below, I have links to other things if you want, or things that you see in this video. So if you take a look down there and you see something you might like, you can just order it right there from the link. So we'll be back. Okay, now we're down to about 14 seconds here. Getting ready to take a look at this thing. I'm pretty sure we're fixing to take it out. So we'll see in just a second here. We got 1 second left. Now it says cool. Okay, and now.
Well, I made it back, so I fixed one kid breakfast, waiting on the other one to see what she wants, and then I have to go do that. But let's continue on with the Ninja Foodie cheese quesadilla and springform pan. And don't forget to give a thumbs up on the video just like that.
It's done. We'll lift the lid, and that looks good to me. That looks pretty good, don't it? Alright, now I've got to change directions here because we'll go to the other side, so hold on. Okay, now that looks pretty tasty right there, doesn't it? Now, the next thing I want to do is have to get me a little paper plate here. We'll see if I can't slide that, slide it over on this paper plate, and then we'll see how we go from there. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is flip this springform pan open. I'll do it just like that. Pick up on it. Oh, don't that look good?
Huh.
Set it right over in the sink. Okay, now pull the parchment paper out from around it here, and all you gotta do is just as simple as it should be. Just get a hold of the parchment paper. If it don't break, slide over to this paper plate. And now you got the bottom of your springform pan there. Well, I'll keep right on until I burn my finger, and I don't like to burn my finger. And set it down in there just like that. And take a look at this. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we've got to doctor it up a little more.
More?
Now, the next thing we'll do is put me a little bit of this daisy sour cream right on top of it here.
Yeah, you got to have daisy.
Squeeze it out a little bit.
A dollop of
Much,
daisy.
because everybody don't like it. So, go do that. And now, I'm going to take me some of these rotel tomatoes. Just put just a little bit on top of it. You know, if you want more, you can always add them. There you go.
That looks
that
good
looks
enough to
pretty
eat.
good. Next thing we're going to do is get a knife and cut this bad boy. Now we'll see if I can cut a piece of that and get it over here in this plate. Feels crunchy all the way down, really. I don't know if it is or not. Cut it just like a pie.
I was going to say, how do you eat that?
Golly, this thing looks good. Now, let me get something to scoop it out with. Got this little pie or cake or whatever it is scooped here. And go right in between your bottom layer there and the parchment paper.
Hold on to it, hold on to it. Don't let it fall apart.
Been better if I'd cut it all the way in two. There. Now.
Oh, there you go.
That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Just ain't
Let's see
enough.
how it is. Now, fork.
Oh, you're going to eat all the good stuff at one time.
Mm-mm-mm. No, that sure is good. That sure is good and delicious right there now. I hope you try one of these sometimes because I think you'll really like it, even if you like any of this stuff. If you like any of these ingredients, you really ought to try this one time. It's pretty simple, it's quick, and it sure is good. So next time, y'all have a real good and safe day and come back and see me real soon. Hope to have another video for you. And so until then, goodbye now.
Bye. So I did post a link, didn't I? Let me see. Yeah, I posted a link right there. You can go check that website out if you want to. Go check him out. That is pretty good stuff there. Make a little comment here. I'll leave a little comment. And you know what you know what they say, if you don't have nothing nice to say. Yeah. So now let's go back to my page here. Now we'll see what's going on here, because let's see, I'm gonna go to a different page. Let's see what's going on into Twitter land. I need to check out something here. Let's see. Got 4 minutes for the stock market to open, and then we'll see what's going to happen. But I got a feeling it's going to go straight up. But like I said before, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not giving stock advice. But if your stockbroker's not buying and selling with the way that this stock market is going now, wow, they should really be buying and selling. But these are some of the channels that I follow. I was just looking. I don't know if Fox Business has one or not. Let's see. This don't even look like mine. Let's see. Oh, that's followers. Oh, that's the people following me. That's why I meant to click on the following. We'll get to Judicial Watch here in a little bit. But I was looking. Let's see. See what's here at Fox Business here. Now we're going to go ahead and follow them. As soon as I clicked on follow, it gave me 3 other ones here that they think I should follow. Wall Street Journal, I don't think so. They got so many commercials and pop-ups on their stuff. Even Wall Street Journal on my phone, when I get a little something, you know, I check it out, and they have pop-ups come over top of it, and unless you subscribe and start paying them, they won't let you read the articles on your phone, on your news feed. That's just detrimental to their advertisement to me. But let's see, they don't have nothing going on here. Nothing going on here in the latest news. I mean, I want to see okay, we're getting ready to go here. So let's look at the last month. It's been pretty much even. You know, we're at 26 now, and we were about 26 a month ago. So if you got a good broker that buys and sells on a regular basis, you would have done real good. Let's see what the 6-month chart looks like. So, you know, these peaks and valleys, they should be buying and selling, especially like right here. My goodness, they should have been buying some stock right there. It was at 21,792, and now it's 26. So let's go back to today's chart, the 1-day chart, if it will. It's going to start in just a minute. It's 9:30 right now. The market is open. What's up? Did you wash out your milk glass? Are you done with your milk? If you're done with your milk, you need to wash out your milk glass. You need to get dressed. You need to get your hair and your teeth brushed. That goes for both of you. So go take care of that, and then we'll see about getting on the tablet. Okay, let me refresh this page. No chart yet. No chart yet. Today's the 10th, and the Dow's opened up at 139 up. 139 up. That's crazy. Let's see if the charts come up yet. Still no chart. It may take a minute or two for the chart to start. Where are we at here, chart? $158 up. That's because the chart can't keep up. Oh my goodness. Let's refresh again. I knew it was going to go up. I didn't know it was going to go up like that. 166 up and no chart yet. Yeah, I know I could subscribe to something and have live charts and have all kinds of stuff going on, but I'm not buying and selling stocks anymore. So you got to have a minimum of $500 to open up an account. And if any of you guys have any links to any free stuff, you know, put them on in my post below in the comment section, and maybe I'll subscribe to one of them. But this is free. It's up 164.30 on the open. It's been 3 minutes. My goodness, that is up there. Let's just see. And we're not even talking about it. You know, Fox News ain't even talking about it. Why someone on here hollering about the stock market's up, the stock market's up, but they're not. Let me go to my home page here and see if anybody is. Okay, let's see if there's any video. Oh, here you go. Let's listen in here.
Have they come around to your thinking, or has the stock market volatility or the economy, do you think they've listened to you, or they've arrived at the decision themselves maybe to cut rates, and when do you think they should?
No, they haven't listened to me, and you know, we have people, it's more than just Jay Powell. We have people on the Fed that really weren't, you know, they're not my people. But they certainly didn't listen to me because they made a big mistake. They raised interest rates far too fast. That's number one. Number two, they did quantitative tightening. They were taking in $50 billion a month, $50 billion a month. And they've now eased that, but it's still $25 billion a month, which is ridiculous.
Wow, that was your president, Donald Trump. Let me refresh this page and see if I have anything new. Okay. That's the same one. Okay. That's 48 seconds. Why do I have it 3 times? I don't know. So let's just stay here for a minute and see if we have anything else from Fox Business. That's 3 minutes ago. Oh, look at that. Yep, it's officially Monday. Whoop. So, while they're doing that, let's just go back over here and refresh the page. Oh, there's the chart went up there, 179 now. Wow. Gonna redo my Twitter page here. I expected to have a little something new, but hey, that's big news when you have a TV show and you have the President Donald Trump come on and talk to you. That's pretty big. That's a big deal. That's as big a deal as you can get. Oil prices could fall to $30 a barrel if global deal not extended. Huh. I don't know if that's good or bad. I remember when it was approaching $100 a barrel. That hasn't happened in a while. But this is what I do. You know, periodically I get on here and just check out things and watching the Dow Jones and stuff like that. And let's look at my control panel here. 1 watch and 12 playbacks. That's pretty good. Thank you for everybody that is watching. Let's go back here. And let's see what I got going on here. I just don't know. See how this works.
I'm Steve Perillo of Perillo Tours. For 3 generations, we've offered tours to Italy for millions of vacationers.
Just trying to figure out how this thing's working here. And then if I go to my control panel, yeah, I was looking down at my phone. I know. Sorry about that. See how this works. I don't need no volume. I don't know how you got there. Nothing but Cecilia, huh? Huh. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. It is watching, but I was just trying to, I got my phone out here looking to see how things look, because I'm just trying to get this live stream thing down and watching different things going on here. Watching the Dow Jones this morning. It's up 174 points, and if you watched the video from the beginning, you seen the PBS thing there that was talking about the stock market and how it could go up to 35,000. That's crazy. That is crazy. Sometimes I ask myself that. How did I get here? How did I get here? Huh. Another new tweet. I really thought there would be more talk about the stock market this morning because it's up so much. Let's see where it's at. 26,158. It hasn't been that way for a while. Let's look year to date. That looks like the peak right there, 26,656. So it's got 500 more to go to get to where it was at on April the 23rd. So that's pretty good. Look at the 5-day chart. Look at the 1-month chart. Your stockbroker should have been buying and selling here and making you some money. Holy moly. It's up 174. I'm going to refresh the page. 169. That's okay. It's going to go up and down a little bit, but I got a feeling. The PBS, did you watch the first part of the video where PBS said, News Hour said it could go to 35,000? So that means it's got 9,000 to go. 9,000. I was hoping they would talk a little bit more about it. But they're not doing a whole lot. I don't know if I want people just coming in and putting stuff in my refrigerator. Did you see that? Did you see that? Oh, it's an ad. And another ad. That's what I don't like about some of those videos. You just click on it and it's just ad after ad after ad. And you really should watch them all. If an ad comes up, watch it. See, now this is the same program I use. Look at that. Let's see what they're talking about.
The TV station opened its studio in Addis Ababa last year, and while its managing director Tolera Fikru welcomes the changes, he says there's still more to be done.
Most of the people who work in lower ranks of government have limited understanding of the media. We encounter a lot of public outcry, and when we try and take up these issues with them, they either tend to avoid us or fail to respond properly. This is one of the emerging challenges we're facing.
Ethiopia jumped 40 places in last year's Press Freedom Index by Reporters Without Borders, which noted that over 250 previously banned websites and blogs are now running. And for the first time in 15 years, no journalists are being held in connection with their work. For many residents in the capital, being able to read a newspaper is now a welcome activity.
It is good to have two sides of a story. We should encourage that. But there are those who publish unrealistic stories and photographs. Since the transition, we now have a platform to entertain all sides of ideas, whether good or bad.
Ethiopia ranks 150 out of 180 in the 2018 World Press Freedom Index. A commission has been set up to review its media laws and improve working conditions for journalists.
Well, that was interesting. But still, I still cannot believe that nobody's talking about this booming stock market. I mean, how is it that nobody's talking about this booming stock market? 175 on the open. It's been open 14 minutes and it's up 175. It's going to go up and down today because there's going to be some buying and selling today because there was a little bit of good news on a lot of different things. But let's see what else we got going on here. There was a story, one story. Let's see if I can find it again. Okay, that was the one I was looking for earlier that took me so long to find, and it's right there in front of me. You know, if I would have read the title down here, I would have known it. I would have known it. But anyway. And see, you're not hearing anything about the tariffs and all that stuff was going on because they made a deal Friday. Might have been Saturday. And Mexico sent a whole big old army to the south of Mexico and stopped a bunch of people. I think it was hundreds, if not thousands, of people from coming into Mexico. And that's all, you know, that they need to do is control the people coming through Mexico and trying to get into the United States. But that's a whole new story. That was 2 weeks ago. That was 2 days ago. Let's see what what you're talking about here.
The latest U.S. jobs report is out with signs of slowing economic growth amid worries about trade wars.
Now listen, it might be slowing a little bit, but in Orlando we got so many jobs. But there's signs everywhere, especially for construction, for help wanted. And there's just, they got too much work started at one time. They should have scheduled it out and done it a little bit at a time, and done it with the amount of people that they had and the time frame that they had. And this I-4 project that they've got going through Florida, they should have just took a section at a time and finished it. They got work going all up and down I-4 and have made a mess, and nothing's finished. That's ridiculous. But let's listen to what she says.
The Labor Department reports a net gain of 75,000 jobs in May. That's just a third of the total for April. The unemployment rate held at 3.6%, near a 50-year low, while hourly pay increases slowed somewhat. We'll get all the details after the news summary. Wall Street rallied on the jobs report in the belief that it will prod the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates sooner. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 263 points to close at 25,984.
That was on Friday.
NASDAQ rose 126 points, and the S&P 500 added 30. U.S. and Mexican negotiators held a third day of talks with President Trump's tariff deadline looming. He vows to impose additional 5% levies on Mexican imports starting Monday, unless the surge of Central American migrants is stopped. Today, as he headed home from Europe, he tweeted that there is a good chance of a deal. At the White House, the Vice President's Chief of Staff, Mark Short, also suggested the tariffs might not happen.
I think that there is the ability, if negotiations continue to go well, that the president can turn that off at some point over the weekend. It's less about the process of negotiation. It's more about actually seeing what are the actions taken that will drop those numbers.
The initial tariffs would increase over time to a maximum of 25%. A Russian destroyer and an American guided missile cruiser had a near collision today in the Philippine Sea. U.S. Navy video showed the ships coming within 165 feet of each other. The USS Chancellorsville had to throw all engines into emergency reverse to avoid being hit. In Washington, Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan blamed the Russian ship and said the U.S. is lodging a formal complaint.
The unsafe, unprofessional acts certainly put our men and women at risk. Thanks to their professionalism, there was no incident. Our military-to-military channel with the Russians will be exercised as a result of this activity.
Moscow countered that the U.S. ship was in the wrong and that it crossed the path of the Russian destroyer. In Minneapolis, former police officer Mohammed Noor now faces more than 12 years in prison for fatally shooting an unarmed woman in 2017. Noor was sentenced today. The victim, Justine Damond, had called police to report a possible sexual assault. Noor opened fire when she approached his cruiser. He apologized in court today, saying, "I caused this tragedy, and it is my burden." NASA announced today private citizens will soon have the chance to visit the International Space Station, but it will cost $58 million for travel and $35,000 per night for accommodations. That revenue will help the agency focus on returning to the moon in 2024. President Trump criticized that part of the plan, tweeting today, quote, "NASA should not be talking about going to the moon." This is despite the fact that just last month he pledged to launch a new mission to the moon with the help of $1.6 billion in new NASA funding. The University of Alabama's trustees voted today to return a donation of $26.5 million. Hugh F. Culverhouse, Jr. had called for boycotting the state school after Alabama's legislature passed a restrictive abortion law. University officials insist the decision is not about abortion, but about Culverhouse's numerous demands involving how the money is spent. 17 major automakers are urging the Trump administration to renew negotiations with California over mileage standards. In a letter to the president, the companies call for, quote, one national standard that is practical, achievable, and consistent. The Trump administration wants to roll back Obama-era mileage requirements and end California's ability to make its own rules. And the music world today, more New Orleans singer and pianist Dr. John, who died Thursday of a heart attack. He was born Mac Rebennack and created the Dr. John persona in the 1960s, blending rhythm and blues with psychedelic rock. His biggest hit, Right Place, Wrong Time, was a top 10 hit in 1973. Here he is performing the song in 2012.
In the wrong time.
What? Yes.
Was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2011. He was 77 years old. Still to come on the News Hour, what did this month's low jobs numbers say about the overall health of the economy? The conclusion of our week-long deep dive into the Mueller report. The painful search for a place to live after a deadly California wildfire, and much more.
Wow, that's terrible. Now, what's the Dow Jones doing now? Let's get back over here and refresh the page. I don't know why in the past it would do it automatically. You could see it as live, then all the numbers would change and stuff. I don't know if it's because I'm recording the screen or what, but it don't tick across like it normally does. So it came down a little bit, 145. Let's see where we're at here now. See if there were some other stories that I wanted to see. What Judicial Watch. I think he's just selling t-shirts there. Let's see. I think we watched that one already. I'm sure you already seen that. Trump, Washington, I don't like that stuff. I don't know that. Let's see what Tim Scott. I already seen what he said, but let's just see if you can.
But what's frustrating even more than that is that in a nation of good conscience, that we would be debating, having a conversation about a child who is born sitting there, alive, separated from her mother, and that there would be a question of whether or not that child should be able to continue to live. This is an issue that has been raised by comments coming out of New York, and more recently comments coming out of Virginia, when the governor, who happens to be, from my understanding, a pediatric surgeon, suggested that it is okay to allow that child to die. I cannot imagine, whether you are pro-life as I am or pro-choice like others, that this would be even an issue of debate or discussion within the two sides. There is no side on this topic. There cannot be a side about life separated from the mother, whether or not that life should continue to live. This is common sense. This is human decency. This is not an issue of being pro-life or pro-choice. This is being pro-child, which we all should be. And so I find myself at a loss of words, standing on the floor of the United States Senate, where a vote yesterday failed by several votes, having to discuss what doesn't make sense anywhere that I have traveled. And I will tell you, Mr. President, I have recently spoke in Charleston, South Carolina, to a group during Black History where the GOP and African Americans were in the same room having a great conversation about the issues that are important to our nation. We talked about so many of the powerful issues of economic opportunity and opportunity zones. And there may have been some disagreement on whether we should have higher taxes or lower taxes. But there was no disagreement on the issue of infanticide. There was no disagreement whatsoever. So whether you were left in the room or to the right, there was one thing that was in common, was the value of life. When I started talking about the truth of human life, the value and the intrinsic value of each human being, there was 100% support that we are a nation that should always value the life of a born child. There was not a single dissent in a room of nearly 400 people.
Well, the Blaze kind of hijacked that video and made it their own, but hope they don't hit me with that and take it down. But get out of there and go back to my page. In the past, when I did something like that and put my name and everything on it, it wasn't really accepted, because it's supposed to be just regular news stuff, you know. And I like watching the Blaze, you know, Blaze TV. It's pretty good. But some things you can record and some things you cannot record. But I don't know. Did you guys hear the speech from Ted Cruz? That was so good. If not, go to my webpage. I put it in the sidebar there in the comments section. You can click on that and go check it out. Hey, I have a new message here by my bell. Let's see who that is. That's from around the house. It was good and all gone. Thanks for watching the video. You're welcome. You are welcome. Now let's see what the Dow Jones is doing, because I got a feeling it's going to do this all day. Now you see it's coming over here and now it's going to go back up. So I hope you have a good stockbroker that is taking care of business for you. And see, that's 48 seconds. That's the same. I mean, I guess it's okay. Now see, when I do that, if I make a video, a clip, and put it on here and do it more than one time, I'll get a message come up and it'll say, you've already put that video up. You don't need to put it up again. It's already up. So he's sitting there listening to Donald Trump. We already listened to it. Who's this? I really wanted to see something about the China with the magnets. What was the story? There was a story. Do you know what the story was? China. This is something that I've made a few videos on. I don't know if you've watched them or not, about how we've already lost World War III, and this plays right into it. Like in Indiana, China bought a magnet manufacturing company in up there, and what they did when they bought the plant. Now you got to listen to this. Now turn up your speaker and listen to this. China bought the plant in Indiana, the magnet plant, and magnets are used in everything from speakers to phones, phone speakers, to the military has uses for all kinds of magnets, and the only way we get them right now for the military is to buy them from China. Let me close my door. I don't want to go off on a tangent and talk too much about this, but this is what's happening all across the United States. In other countries, you can't just go in and buy a manufacturing company and buy the land and buy the property. You got to be a citizen of that country. Even in the Virgin Islands, when I was down there, I was wanting to buy something, and it was, even though it's a protected by the United States and is part of the United States, if you're not a citizen of the Virgin Islands or St. Thomas or St. John's or wherever, you can't buy property. Now, somebody's going to jump up and say that I'm not telling the truth, but I lived down there for over a year and worked down there for over a year, and I looked and looked and looked, and even in the worst piece of property that you can imagine, American citizen could not buy it. You had to be a citizen from that island. But getting back to the China thing, China and other countries and Russia are buying up buildings, and even in Washington, D.C. But getting back to the magnet manufacturing plant in Indiana, so they bought that plant, and I'm going to try to find the story. And when they bought the plant, they shipped all the equipment to China. They took the management from that plant, moved them to China, and they reassembled the plant there, showed the Chinese how to make these super heavy duty magnets. I forget what you call them right now. They'll come to me in a minute maybe. But and now the United States is dependent on China for these magnets, even the military. And back years ago when I was in construction and I worked on the Navy base in Orlando, Florida, we could not build, when we built the barracks and built the cafeteria and built a medical center, you could not purchase and put anything in that construction project that was not made in the United States. Even the light bulbs, the rebar, any kind of steel products, AC units, everything had to be manufactured in the United States. But now that is thrown to the wind, and the government, our government, has let this happen to us, has let these countries, China and Russia and all these other countries, come in and buy up these manufacturing plants, buy up property, buy up commercial property and buildings and stuff, and took the productivity out of the country, and now we're dependent on that. We do not make those super magnets. I'm forgetting the term for them now. And in the United States, there's no way making them. And so it was on a news show that I was watching last night that I'm trying to find some links to it to see if anybody is talking about it, but they're not. And this is a big deal. Even an ex-military person was on there, and he was asked, is this a national security? I think it was on 2020. Is this a national security issue? And he says, absolutely, it's a national security issue, because they have taken that out of this country, and now we're relying on China for those magnets to build, whether it's military, whether it's cell phones, whether it's speakers for your house, your TV, your cars. It's all gone from the United States. And I'm just looking to see if anybody, if they posted that story on 2020. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Let me just go to Google and see if I can find it. 2020. Let's see. And that's the story right there. Let's see. China dangles potentially harmful new threat in trade war. That's because they make all the magnets. And I really wanted to see if I could find the video, but I don't see it. But if you want to go to this page, I'm going to copy this, put it in my comment section here, and there's the link if you guys want to go check it out. And that's the story. Okay, let's see. Okay, rare earths materials, which we did that right here in the United States, and now it's gone to China. And people holler at me all the time because I say stuff like that about the manufacturing plants and things that are going to China, and they just I don't know what that is. I was looking for the rare earth or magnetic or the magnet. But I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's go to the 2020 page and see if it's on here. No, I just don't see the story other than the written story. Oh, let's see. Let's see if I have a video. Let's see if I got a video here. I'll go here and check this again. Let's see. I'm just looking here. See, scare tactics like this right here, it just makes me mad. Trade war could have effect on imported goods and individual families. That is just Scare tactics. It's ludicrous. Here's another one, how China tariffs could impact your wallet. That's crazy. Scare tactics. I just don't see how to find that video. But anyway. Anyhow. Oh, see there, it popped back up to 176. Yeah. I told you 10 minutes ago when it was down here, I said, watch the pop. It's going to pop. Somebody bought. Somebody's going to sell. Somebody's going to sell pretty soon. I watched David Muir. I don't know if that'll work or not. Let's just see. That's not what I want. I want the rare earth thing. Let's just see what they're saying here. Yeah, that wasn't as good a video as I was hoping that it would be. Let's see what this, some of these little videos like this, when you click on them, it just takes you to the end of the world.
Some significant movements this week, Alistair, in the share prices of some companies focused on rare earths. What's your read into the situation?
Well, it's all about the wider and ongoing trade wars between China and the United States. The significant move this week was that China got specific about certain actions that it might take in retaliation to the tariffs, which Donald Trump is slowly ratcheting up. They were very clear that they might bring their dominance of the rare earths market into play and restrict supply into the wider world of rare earths. China controls between 70 and 80% of the supply of global rare earths at the moment. So any action by the Chinese authorities would significantly disrupt that market. Rare earths important in many areas. Particularly interesting for the US is its use in weaponry, but also much more forward-looking is the uses of rare earths in renewable technologies, wind turbines, electric vehicles, and consumer electronics. So they're very significant in terms of the global economy. And any attempt by the Chinese to put a squeeze on supply will be noticed around the world in the global supply chain, and obviously has had an effect on the share prices of companies that operate in the rare earth space, as you mentioned, because outside of China there aren't many of them. So when investors took fright at this Chinese news, they piled into Lynas, the world's largest non-Chinese rare earths company, and boosted their shares there by 18%. And overall, that means Lynas has had a good run in the last couple of months. But I think we might see some more tightness in the rare earths market and some more investor demand for rare earths companies.
Well, you mentioned Lynas there. Macango, of course, another company familiar with Proactive. A BFS underway, I believe, at their Songwe Hill project in Malawi.
Yeah, so Macango, 21 million tons of ore there, measured and indicated, a bankable feasibility study, well backed by Talaxis.
Okay, that's all well and good, but I wanted them to say how we got to that point. How we got to having them have control over the rare earth products. Because it was not always that way. We used to have a booming industry here for the rare earth until the powers to be, the lobbyists and the politicians, let China have control of the rare earth products. And there was another let's just see. Okay, that's another one where it's just, and we've already seen that one. And they've really buried the story that I wanted to get to. Let's see. What are they talking about?
Way too long, and I thought, what a perfect time to bring you back, because you are known as the battery metals specialist and rare earths also, and I want you kind of to educate us today. Sure. This week I jokingly wrote on Twitter that rare earths have suddenly become sexy, and I've been reporting on them for 10 years.
Sure.
We've seen the impact or potential impact that trade war talk will have on rare earths. Would the same impact be happening to the battery metals?
I think to a lesser degree. It really depends on which battery metal you're referring to. I mean, the supply chain around lithium or cobalt, for example, or graphite, I think would almost need to be viewed separately. The issue with rare earths is that, you know, we were probably having this same conversation 7 or 8 or 10 years ago. China really does control the overwhelming majority of the supply chain. Outside of Lynas and, of course, Molycorp, those are really the only, I would say, major rare earth producers outside of China. But China really controls the majority of the supply chain. And what we've seen from President Xi just in the last couple of weeks is just sort of an implicit threat to weaponize rare earths and control over rare earths. And so it's something that I think, you know, whether or not you're in Washington or Brussels, you do want to take seriously.
Now, I think there's a lot of confusion sometimes when we're talking battery metals versus rare earths. Are there similarities? Should they almost be in the same camp? Or what are the differences?
Well, I would put them in the same camp. I mean, you know, many of the rare earths, neodymium, praseodymium, for example, are used in magnets which go into which go into the electric vehicles. And so, you know, if you're still of the belief that we're going to have 10 or 15 or whatever percent EV penetration out over the next 10 to 15 years, obviously rare earths are going to be a part of that whole, you know, battery metals thesis. And to date, they really haven't, which is interesting.
But they haven't said anything about how that happened. And that was a story from, I think it was 2020. I just can't say, because I don't remember. But let's go back to the top. And I don't see nothing new about it. I don't want to follow them. Let's get back to the Dow Jones here for a second. Yeah, it's probably going to take a little tumble here and then go back up. So let's just see what we're going to do here now. Yeah, let's hit it back down. So this is what it's going to do today. It's up 173 to 26,157. And we went over most of the stuff I wanted to talk about today, except for the fact that nobody's talking about that story that was out over the weekend. I can't find it anywhere. And huh. That's crazy. What are they talking about? Huh. That's the generation that is taking over the United States. That's going to be that is going to be the new generation, baby. Yeah. Well, let's open that back up. Let's open that up. I like that song. Let's play it again. Let's see what they're talking about here.
In Mexico, I should note what the U.S. did not get in this agreement is Mexico agreeing to be the asylum spot for those seeking asylum in this country, but they did get other concessions. Is it a good deal?
Well, you know, Poppy, we've had over 100,000 migrants come through here since January of this year. We're number 2 after McAllen, Texas. But all this issue related to tariffs, and I've said on numerous occasions, I was a CEO for 35 years, and I hate surprises. They're rarely positive, and you need to plan accordingly. But this whole tariff issue and related to migration would never have occurred if Congress had gotten their act together over the last 30 years and developed a little intestinal fortitude to do what is right on reforming immigration to begin with. But you know, my concern is that it looks like that this worked in the president's eyes, and I'm just fearful that this may come up again until they deal with immigration reform once and for all, border security, immigration reform, all of the above in Washington.
I don't disagree with him on that. Oh, a volcano erupted in Indonesia on Sunday. I didn't hear that. Whew. It's a lot of volcano ash. Wow, look at that. Zoom. My goodness. Oh, did you see this story on I-95 in Florida? A guy headed down here from South Carolina. Lightning hit his helmet. I didn't know lightning could strike something that was on. I didn't know that it would affect anything on rubber, you know. And I don't know if the lightning strike killed him or hitting the guardrail killed him, but he died. I haven't heard that they said who it was yet. Wow, looks like they got some fires out in California. See, they have not updated their page anymore. Why aren't their own tweets going to their own page? That don't make no sense. Yes. Open the door. What do you want? No, you gotta have breakfast. Hold on a second. Yes. Oh, it's going a little sideways there, people. I gotta go get number 2 some cereal. So I'll be back. Enjoy the music. Still going sideways. Look at that. Let's see what they're talking about here.
And the Clinton email scandal. And that's not necessarily obvious to folks. People say, hey, why are you still talking about those Clinton emails?
Well, it's pretty clear the targeting of Trump was designed to protect Hillary Clinton from the consequences of her email misconduct. And it wasn't just Hillary Clinton who had consequences. It would have been the Obama administration, the Obama White House, the State Department, the FBI, the DOJ, who were involved in that cover-up. Judicial Watch just uncovered through discovery in our big Clinton email case, discovery, we're gathering evidence.
Right.
The top FBI official managing her case admitted they found Clinton emails in the Obama White House Executive Office of the President. We just found new documents they had to disclose to us involuntarily. Again, this is court-ordered discovery, where the Obama White House was guiding the FOIA responses of the State Department, which lied about the existence of the Clinton emails. So you had Clinton emails hiding out over at the Obama White House that the FBI had to go and try to recover. And we also have the Obama White House involved in the cover-up directly of the Clinton email scandal. So you have all of that potential corruption and criminality eventually potentially coming to the fore in the middle of the presidential campaign. What better way than to keep the focus off of that? Not only in 2016, but in 2017, once you had a new Justice Department, then create and manufacture this false, defamatory, and knowingly false allegation that Trump colluded with Russia. So the same Justice Department that was bending over backwards to target to protect Hillary Clinton was going full bore, the rules and the rule of law be danged, against Trump and his team. Unbelievable. No corruption scandal like it in American history, bar none.
Huh. Well, I'll be. Son of a gun, bar none. See what we got going on over at C-SPAN. Not much live video. What's he talking? Campaign 2020 this week on C-SPAN.
On our network, coming from Iowa. Tonight, we are going to have Senator Bernie Sanders. He's at a political party live podcast event in Cedar Rapids. We're going to have live coverage of that at 9 o'clock tonight. And then Saturday night, we're going to cover another one of these political party live podcast recordings. They do it in front of a live audience. Saturday night, it's Senator Cory Booker.
Okay, that's all old news. Okay, you want to hear this? It's about that near collision with the Russia boat.
Sir, are Russians putting American sailors' lives at risk? We just talked a little bit about that. I think the news of this morning is I guess beyond disappointing. The unsafe, unprofessional acts certainly put our men and women at risk. Thanks to their professionalism, there was no incident. Our military-to-military channel with the Russians will be exercised as a result of this activity, and then we'll demarch the Russians later this evening.
What about this aggression in the DNR?
Okay. I don't know what they're talking about here. Let's go in and see what they're talking about. This is on June the 5th.
Perished on that bloody dawn, as Nobel Peace Laureate Liu Xiaobo described it. Today, the CCP continues its war against the people of China and treats the rest of the world with similar disdain. In my view, China poses the greatest long-term geopolitical threat to the United States. They have to be dealt with, and dealt with clear eyes. We can't break off relations with Beijing, but we must begin to rethink the assumptions that have guided U.S. policies towards China since Tiananmen Square. Let's start by addressing an uncomfortable reality here at home: the role of U.S. technology in China's oppression of its people. Dr. Richardson, Human Rights Watch recently released a report where your colleagues reverse engineered a Chinese censorship app for smartphones. This app, called the Integrated Joint Operations Platform, is a primary tool of mass surveillance in Xinjiang. In this report, you reference U.S.-based companies that contribute to the censorship apparatus in Xinjiang. This week, I plan to introduce legislation, the Tiananmen Act of 2019, to restrict China's access to such technology. In your judgment, how widespread is U.S. technology in modern-day Chinese surveillance and censorship?
Senator, thanks for that question. I wish I had a perfect answer to it. When we're done reverse engineering things, that's the next on our list of research projects. But I think the fact that we don't have clarity about that, and that it's not easy to get clarity about that, is a problem in and of itself. And we've discussed this morning the need for due diligence strategies from all manner of companies, whether they're tech companies, whether they're infrastructure, extractives, about what exactly the nature of their business is and how they can be sure they are not enabling or contributing to human rights violations.
If you Google Tiananmen Square in China, do you learn anything about the massacre, about the slaughter?
You see all the tourists, right? And the tourist pictures. But remember this. the Chinese government cannot really not only sort of suppressing those discussions, they also guiding and inciting and sort of channeling the public opinion to the ideological foundation that's supporting the regime. Only under the fear and under such technology support that strategy is some kind of effective. But now we have a game changer, which is the new layer of the artificial intelligence, big data technology. Yes, U.S. are still ahead of China on artificial intelligence, many areas, but not on implementations on facial recognition, not on voice recognition, not on some of the other metrics they're collecting, because China has a large set of data to training their algorithms to make the application much more precise and comprehensive and fast. And this is a danger.
Well, and many of us are concerned that U.S. companies are actively aiding and abetting China's suppression of its people and censorship of free speech. Indeed, days before the Tiananmen Square anniversary this year, reports began to circulate that Twitter had suspended the accounts of dozens of Chinese political dissidents. Twitter reportedly had run a sweep for bots. How would you describe the Communist Party's efforts to coerce American companies into assisting the party's censorship activities?
On Twitter, I can say this. I don't know what's recently happened inside of a Twitter company. I think they should tell the public, giving a report on that. But I do know that the Chinese espionage and intelligence communities have developed the tools, the technologies, can infiltrate the Twitter, Facebook, Gmails, that creating face account, creating face tweets, and penetrating anybody's tweets account or Gmail account or Facebook account. They have that technology.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may ask one more.
Please, go ahead.
Mr. Walker, you've warned about China's sharp power, and you've described the Chinese infiltration of American higher education institutions. This is an issue that concerns me greatly. Just this week, I introduced the Stop Higher Education Espionage and Theft Act, which gives the FBI and DHS new authorities to address this issues. My question for you is, what steps should universities take to insulate themselves from Chinese espionage, and what steps should the U.S. government take to protect higher education from these threats?
So, thank you, Senator. I think the question you've asked is related to the previous one as well, that this is a pattern of either inducing or cajoling or coercing open institutions, independent institutions in open societies to behave in ways they wouldn't otherwise behave. And so you've alluded to some of these issues that are relevant to the stealing of technology and related things, but there's a full spectrum of challenges that have emerged that transcend those issues, which can induce educators, students in our open societies to sidestep certain issues or to not talk about certain things that aren't welcome by the Chinese authorities. And I think this is, God bless you, this is something that we need to find, as I've alluded to in previous writings and earlier today, to find ways to develop more durable democratic solidarity so that no single institution is exposed to the entreaties and the influence of the Chinese party state. That's the most effective way over time to have these institutions feel as though they can say no and essentially uphold liberal democratic standards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
All right. Check this out again. Okay, 176. Doing pretty good. All right, well, this is Harold with WorldTVOnDemand.com. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll have another one for you later on. And I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below if you like. And I will talk to you later. This is Harold signing off, baby. I am out of here. Thank you for watching.